And now it's with pleasure that I invite Professor Marek Kowalkiewicz to the stage. He is the Chair in Digital Economy for QUT and the lead researcher in the Centre for Future Enterprise on the ALGORITHMIC Enterprise. So Marek, to the stage. Thank you. Should have said welcome to the stage, rather. Thanks.
To the stage. Thanks so much, Emma. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for your time. Marek Kowalkiewicz. I spend most of my waking hours trying to understand the technology and what it means for business. And there is this one quote that specifically keeps me awake every day. I found it on Reddit probably about 6 years ago that really gave rise to one of our teams at the Center for Future Enterprise. From around 6 years ago up to until now, I have done nothing at work. That's what Fillet of Fish 1066, short for Leo T-Fish, wrote on Reddit. For 40 hours each week, I go to work, play League of Legends in my office, browse Reddit, and do whatever I feel like. In the past 6 years, I've maybe done 60 hours of real work. So basically nothing. I spent some time doing a bit of digital forensics, trying to understand more about Fillet of Fish. One thing I don't know is the gender. I still call Fillet of Fish Leo because it's just so much easier for me. Fillet of Fish could just as well be a female. What I found is that Leo T-Fish graduated from a university in California with a terrible GPA of 2.3. That's really, really bad. But Leo was also very ambitious and applied for a job at a startup in Silicon Valley, got the job. The startup became a very, very big startup. I don't know the name of the startup, but apparently that would be one of the most recognizable ones in Silicon Valley. And then one day, the boss found out. So after around 8 months of working, Leo T-Fish was able to automate all of the activities. Leo T-Fish's job was a quality assurance engineer, QA engineer. So basically those people look at software code written by software developers and they try to find any issues with this code, right? So does it break? Is there a mistake? What if instead of, a price of $100, I put in I love cats, right? This is the type of things that QA developers do or QA engineers do. And so Leo T-Fish figured out how to do it automatically. For software developers in the room, we know how to automate those things. Not everyone does. So that's an advantage that Leo T-Fish had. So 8 months of basically automating the work. And after that, just browse forums and do absolutely nothing. My boss never really checked, Leo T-Fish said in one of the messages, so I really spent a lot of time, sifting through Reddit to find all those kind of small signals that Leo left around the, around the internet. The boss didn't care, right? We're business school. This is the type, not the type of leadership that we try to teach our students to apply at work, but clearly it worked for Leo for 6 years, and it worked for the startup apparently as well, because Leo was delivering the work. Still, what happened is that probably IT was analyzing the logs of what was happening, and they realized that there was something weird here, right? So Leo was not really doing the job, was playing League of Legends. So hey, they flagged it. Now, if you think that what Leo did was wrong, I don't blame you, right? But you are wrong. What we're seeing here is the ultimate creativity of an employee, an ability to identify those tasks that are dull, that could be automated, and ultimately grow the efficiency of the organization. So what I'd rather say is that the manager was wrong here in firing Leo T-Fish. I would say that it's one of the worst management decisions that I've seen in this space, because Leo was an enabler for the organization to grow with the same number of people. Now, I'm using only this one example for the presentation. I have found multiple other ones where the managers made the right choice. And in most cases, when managers found out about what I call shadow automation happening at work, they would basically work with those employees to try to spread that positive virus here. One of the more hilarious examples was from a user called CSNL, Computer Science Netherlands, I'm assuming, who was in the same situation. So this is CSNL. That was their username. This was the manager of CSNL who decided to fire CSNL. However, CSNL went to the manager's manager and complained. This manager, the top guy in the or girl in the business, decided to fire the manager who tried to fire CSNL, and then promote CSNL to the manager's position. So that was one of the more hilarious cases that I found. But really, what's happening here is that we're living in this world where a lot of managers, a lot of business people find it hard to understand who they're working with. Am I working with a human or am I managing a machine? If I'm a people manager, I'm trained to manage people. And so when I find out that there's a machine doing the work, I just don't understand what's happening. So I'm going to fire this person because that's, I don't know, that's a problem for me, right? But if you're a business manager, you will have a very different perception of that, right? So it's all about having the right look at it. Now, I really want to say it very clearly. I do not advocate for automating people out. The technology is not there to automate people out. The technology is there to support people in their work, and there's some massive potential there. How massive? You all have seen all of those examples of generative AI that is happening right now. Here's one from a couple of months ago where a video producer decided to train an algorithm on all sorts of fashion designs, and then basically told it, hey, start generating. So if we paused on each of those designs, they all look quite okay. They're actually quite decent. They're definitely at a level of what an average human, perhaps an average designer could produce. So a pretty good inspiration for designers. And what you're seeing here, none of these designs existed before. So we're living in this world where algorithms can create outputs, artifacts that really inspire us, and we don't necessarily know what to do with it. I'm trying to put it into some sort of a framework so that we can understand what's happening in this world. And really, what we've been seeing is that growth in those both axes of artificial intelligence, of software algorithms in principle. One of the axes is the capability of algorithms. So if you think back to the first software programmer, Lady Ada Byron or Ada Lovelace, her software that she wrote for physical machines was basically, a mathematical algorithm. It could calculate differential equations, right? So, a relatively sort of small type of problem, very important, but relatively small. But then if we start to add those things up and add, we see right now tools that we have access to, like computer-aided design tools that are extremely, extremely capable. And those minor sort of problems like differential equations are still there inside them. They're extremely capable, but they're tools, and we use them to help us at work. On the other axis, there's a dimension of autonomy of algorithms. Those are algorithms that are becoming more and more autonomous. They can do things without human supervision. The best one, far left, high up, would be an automatic door opener. It's not a very capable algorithm, but it doesn't really need a human to supervise it, right? In some very extreme cases, it might do harm to people, but in most cases, it will just open and close the door. So we have those two dimensions there. What is happening is we're starting to see algorithms that are both very capable and autonomous. And that confuses us as humans because we start to see them like that designer algorithm as algorithms that we could give agency to. Let them do whatever they want, right? That's causing a lot of problems. I will not talk about RoboDebt. That's causing a lot of problems where algorithms are given too much agency, not enough oversight, because we think they're so capable and they're so autonomous. So we have to be very careful with this, this sort of association of highly capable and highly autonomous algorithms with agency. There are parallels with self-driving cars and automated cars. So what I'm showing you here in this slide is inspired by the 6 levels of automation of self-driving cars. You might be aware of this one. Level 0 is your old car from 1950s that doesn't have any, driver support and so on. Level 1 is the so-called hands-on approach, so it might have ABS, maybe some steering support and so on, but you still have to drive the car. Level 2 is hands-off. It could be perhaps lane assist, so it stays in lane and so on. Level 3 is eyes off, so occasionally you can look away, maybe read a book, but you need to be able to grab the steering wheel. Actually, no, don't read a book, but you could sort of look to the sides and so on. That's the eyes off. The reading of the book is the next level, which is called mind off, right? So for some time you could forget that you're driving, the car needs to bring you back. And then the ultimate, the last level 5, is basically no driver, right? So we have those levels. Why do we have them? So that we can understand how much can we, how much trust can we put into a car? We don't have anything like this for algorithms. So this is my suggestion. Let's start talking about algorithms in this particular way. And suddenly, I will not talk about RoboDebt. We will be able to identify what a particular algorithm is capable of. Perhaps they're level 3, which means, well, any of the outputs of the algorithm need to be approved by a human before we release it, right? So it does all the work, but we need to approve that. If we start thinking about algorithms like that, we will not have cases like, Leo Fish Manager, who just thought that they had a level 0 employee. Turns out that the employee was actually more like level 4, and they just, there was a management mismatch there. So something for you to think about. Now, how did it all start? It's it's not a new thing. This is 2014. 2011, April 2011. A PhD student at a university wanted to buy a book on the making of a flight, the genetics of animal design. PhD students don't have a lot of money. This particular student went to the Amazon website and found the book for the cheaper one for $1,730,045 $1.91 plus $3.99 shipping. Complaints to the supervisor saying, I don't have enough budget, I need that book. Supervisor was confused, decided to have a look into it. What the supervisor found is that there were 2 sellers on Amazon, one called Prof, the other Bordy Book. Prof had a very interesting strategy. Prof would look for another seller of the book and slightly reduce the price, specifically 99.83% of the other price, right? Bordy Book had a different strategy. Bordy Book relied on our laziness. It would take a price of, find a book, find a price, and increase the price by 27%. So this is us being lazy. We'll just click on the first result and buy it, right? So what happened is the book was advertised, Prof probably just undercut the price a bit, Bordy Book increased it. Prof undercut, Bordy Book increased it. Prof undercut, Bordy Book increased it, right? So that's how we get to $2,198,000 for a book, right? Wrong. That's how we get to $23,698,655.93 plus $3.99 shipping. I think Bordy Book actually didn't even have the book. Bordy Book had a very different strategy. Bordy Book said, I'm going to sell this book for $24 million, and then I'm going to buy it from Profnath for, $18 million. So I'll make $5 million. That's okay. That should cover the shipping. So that's the problem that we're seeing, in 2011 already, which is we created algorithms, gave them autonomy, but didn't understand what might happen, right? You see what happened here, right? We basically had just two algorithms competing with one another. Next day, the price of Profnath's book dropped to $106, so a human realized what was happening. Interestingly, Bordy Book followed by setting the price at $134.97. So, Bordy Book was still, involved in this process. So this is how it started. How it's going, this is what I found on YouTube very recently, actually a few months ago already. Sneakers, a lot of people like to buy those when they drop. Butterboy Nova is one of YouTubers who basically grab a bot and just try to sell them. Now look what's happening here. It's very interesting. The algorithm needs to fill out a CAPTCHA, so it actually hires a human to fill out the CAPTCHA. Butterboy Nova fills out the CAPTCHAs, and then the algorithm takes over, right? Algorithms hire humans here. Checked out. The next one coming up. Checked out. So this one. So Butterboy Nova basically released 50 bots. bought 2 pairs of sneakers, he's gonna resell it. Not sure if it's like, if it's ethical. It's a problem if you don't manage an army of algorithms. It'll be very hard for you to buy, nice sneakers. So there you go, right? But that's not future. Future's already here, right? And Butter Boy Nova is already there. This is another bot. If you ever try to buy PlayStation 5, hard. But this bot bought 27.4 thousand boxes of PlayStation 5. 27.5 thousand boxes. It failed only 1.3 thousand times. Try to buy a PlayStation 5. You'll see what I mean, right? It's happening. So what do we do, right? What do we do? We need to understand what's happening in this world. I came across a temp agency for bots. It's called Bot Broker. There are more like this, where if you don't know, if you don't have your own bot and so on, you can hire one. You want a CyberSol? That's a bot that can sell on a number of websites, Shopify, Supreme, and so on, for $254. This page doesn't say for how long it is. That could be for a week, for a month, right? So that's a salary you pay to a bot to do the shopping for you, but absolutely fantastic. Those bots are called so-called AIO bots, all-in-one bots, so they can do whatever purchases for you. Okay, exciting times. We need to understand what it means for business. Gets even crazier. These are distributed autonomous organizations. Just some examples. These are businesses that do not employ any humans, including a CEO. These are basically algorithms that perform functions of an organization. Some organizations are easy to run for them, like venture capital funds. They take money from people, so they have investors. Then they ask the same investors which project they should invest in, and then they invest. Then they get the money back and redistribute it to investors. That's an algorithm, right? Again, not so right. The first one that was launched in 2016 raised $150 million in crypto, in Ethereum. 50 million was stolen in about 28 days from the launch. I checked 2 weeks ago how much it would be in today's money. That was 10 billion Australian dollars, right? So that was a pretty big thing, even with the drops of crypto. So, but there's quite a few of them, and basically there's an exploration, and that's what Algorithmic Enterprise Group is doing within Future Enterprise. We're trying to understand how this world is impacting the world of business. Okay, so it's not about organizations anymore, the economy of corporations as we call it. It's not about people only anymore, the economy of people as we call it, so platforms, sharing economy and so on. But we have this new type of entity, an economic agent specifically, one that can create and consume value, called an algorithm. So when we bring together networks, IoT, connectivity, those very autonomous, capable algorithms and good business models, that's what we end up with. And we have plenty of them, right? Those agents are our assistants, managers, buyers, sellers, social media coordinators, designers, writers, and so on and so on. There's plenty of them already now. These are algorithmic workers that you can hire right now. This is not science fiction. This is not future. This is happening already here. I have a few of them working for me right now, seriously, not joking. So we basically, more questions. We have even more questions. How do we then, if we have those algorithmic agents, how do we manage them? Do we have humans that manage algorithms? Do we have algorithms that manage algorithms, right? Leo Tifish was a human that was managing algorithms, but those CAPTCHAs are in a way trying to call algorithms. So you could tell that you could say that they're also managing them. But then who manages the managers, right? So questions that we're trying to to answer as well. If algorithms are managing other algorithms, and who governs those algorithms that govern other algorithms? All the questions that we're trying to address, all right? Changing the world of B2B, changing the world of B2C. If we only have, if we not only have humans, but also we can have algorithms, and the B2C could be changing to. Hoping for an animation here. B2A, business to an algorithm. And this picture is wrong because we don't really have algorithms that just interact by themselves. Typically, they're there on behalf of a human or of a business. If it was a business to algorithm to business, we know this world. This is enterprise application integration. But we don't know this world where we have businesses and customers. So I'm really curious, and I'm really keen to understand the world in which we give algorithms. We don't try to stop them from interacting as agents, but we actually create a new pathway for algorithms to interact in our economy. Some interesting sort of challenging questions that I wanted to pose to you. What if we allow algorithms to interact with humans? That's an example of if I have a watch that can recognize that there's a fall. Right now it cannot really interact with enterprise systems of dispatch centers. It actually has to send a message or call a human, so we have those human application programming interfaces. Or maybe this one where we actually need to control, this is an algorithm embedded in a self-driving car, a case from a few months ago, Cruise, self-driving taxi in San Francisco, stopped by police because it didn't have the lights on. Cruise is only allowed to drive at night. Why would you not have lights on? But it didn't have lights on. Police tried to stop it. The police person was confused because there was no driver, went to their car to get some instructions, I'm assuming, and the car did a runner while the police person was. So how do we allow, how do we create those functions for authorities to actually have control over algorithms? There's more, right? My favorite one is, how do you advertise to a fridge if a fridge is shopping for you, right? Or if your washing machine is logged into a provider or has an algorithm that only buys on Amazon and only buys a particular product, is it legal, right? Or should we do something about it? So that's the algorithmic enterprise, and that's what I wanted to share with you. I don't think we have time for questions, right? I might have, yeah, we do? Okay, so do we have questions? Anyone finds it interesting? All right, look, sorry, Paula.
So in the world of a non-technical degree, we are a business school, we are hosted in a business school. What's the future for business school graduates if they don't understand the technicality behind?
There's no future if they don't understand that, the world that is happening here. I'm being a bit cheeky, but the reality is, I think actually there's much more future for business school students than purely technical students. So yes, there is progress when it comes to the technologies themselves. And right now, especially this year, we're seeing a lot of progress in artificial intelligence in general. But when it comes to the business ability to integrate those new opportunities, or as we call it in the information systems, affordances of those algorithms, there's practically zero understanding of this in an average business. So fantastic future for business school students, as long as they take the time to understand what this means for the business world. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Catch me outside. I think that's a quote, right? Catch me outside, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it if you're interested during the break as well. Thank you.